The fountain in Central Park had become their washing basin out of necessity, not choice. Maria's small hands, red and chapped from the cold water, moved methodically across her mother's worn uniform as tourists passed by with their shopping bags and expensive cameras. She was only 7 years old, but she already understood that survival required sacrifices that other children her age would never comprehend. Nobody stopped. Nobody looked twice. In a city of 8 million people, a mother and daughter washing clothes in a public fountain barely registered as unusual. But for James Richardson, the tech billionaire who had built his empire on innovation and disruption, this scene would shatter something fundamental in his carefully constructed world. He had been walking through the park to clear his mind after another contentious board meeting when he first noticed them. The little girl's concentration was absolute, her face serious beyond her years as she scrubbed a white shirt against the fountain's edge. Her mother, thin and exhausted, sat beside her with closed eyes, her hand resting protectively on her daughter's shoulder. Between them sat a plastic bag containing what appeared to be their entire wardrobe. James stopped walking. He couldn't say why, exactly. Perhaps it was the tenderness in the way the girl wrung out each piece of clothing, careful not to let anything fall into the water. Perhaps it was the quiet dignity in how they worked, asking nothing from the world rushing past them. Or perhaps it was the sudden, uncomfortable realization that while he had been arguing about stock options and market valuations, real people were struggling to maintain the basic dignity of clean clothes. The girl looked up suddenly, her dark eyes meeting his. She didn't smile or look away in shame. Instead, she simply acknowledged his presence with a small nod before returning to her work. That brief exchange hit James harder than any business setback ever had. In her eyes, he saw neither resentment nor plea, just acceptance of her reality and determination to help her mother however she could. He found himself walking closer. "Excuse me," he said softly, not wanting to startle them. The mother's eyes flew open, immediately alert and defensive. She pulled her daughter closer. "I don't mean to intrude. Are you both okay? Can I help somehow?" The woman's English was halting but proud. "We are fine, thank you. We don't need charity." Her accent carried the rhythms of somewhere far from here, somewhere she had left behind in search of something better. "My daughter, she helps me. We manage." Maria looked up at her mother, then back at James. "Mama works 3 jobs, she said in perfect, unaccented English. "But the laundromat is very expensive. $5 for wash, $5 for dry. We need that money for food." She stated it as simple fact, without self-pity or embarrassment. James felt something crack open inside his chest. He thought of his own daughter, Sophia, who was about the same age. Sophia had a closet full of clothes she'd worn once, a playroom filled with forgotten toys, and a trust fund that would ensure she never knew hardship. Yet here was Maria, working alongside her mother in a freezing fountain, displaying more maturity and selflessness than most adults he knew. "What's your name?" he asked gently, crouching down to Maria's eye level. "Maria Santos. And this is my mama, Rosa." She continued scrubbing without breaking rhythm. "We came here from Guatemala 2 years ago. Mama says America is the land of opportunity, but opportunities are hiding very well." Despite the gravity of the situation, James found himself smiling at her precociousness. Rosa looked embarrassed. "Maria, don't bother the gentleman. He has somewhere to be." But James didn't have somewhere to be. Not really. Nothing on his calendar mattered more than this moment. "Actually, I have time." "Maria, you said your mother works 3 jobs. What does she do?" Rosa answered reluctantly, as if revealing weakness. "I clean offices at night, I work in restaurant kitchen during lunch, and I watch children for a family in the evening." "But Maria, she should not have to work. She should be playing, being a child." "I don't mind helping Mama," Maria interjected fiercely. "We're a team." She says when we're a team, nothing is too hard. James had to look away for a moment, emotion threatening to overwhelm him. Here was real wealth, he realized. Not in his penthouse apartment or his investment portfolio, but in the bond between this mother and daughter, in their unwavering commitment to each other, in their resilience against circumstances that would have crushed others. "Rosa," he said carefully, "I run a company. A large company. We're always looking for good people. Would you be interested in a different kind of work? Something with benefits, regular hours, good pay?" Rosa's eyes narrowed with suspicion. "I don't have papers. I wait for my hearing date." I cannot take job requiring papers I don't have. I have immigration lawyers who handle complex cases for our employees. Let me make some calls. He pulled out his phone, but Rosa held up a hand. Why? She asked simply. Why do you want to help us? You don't know us. James looked at Maria, who had finally stopped scrubbing and was watching him with those ancient, knowing eyes. Because your daughter is washing clothes in a fountain in November so you can save $10. Because she called you a team. Because I have a daughter about her age, and I hope that if our positions were reversed, someone would stop for her. The words hung in the cold air between them. Rosa's eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. I work hard. I'm not looking for handout. But yes, if you have real job, I would be grateful. What happened next unfolded like a story James would later tell at board meetings and charity galas, though he would never mention their names or identify them. He called his HR director right there in the park. He arranged for Rosa to interview for a position in his company's facilities management division, a job with benefits, reasonable hours, and a salary that would mean Maria never had to help wash clothes in a fountain again. He connected her with one of the immigration attorneys his company kept on retainer. He set up a meeting with a social worker to ensure they had access to housing assistance and other resources. But more than that, he listened. He sat on the cold edge of that fountain and listened as Rosa told him about fleeing violence in Guatemala, about the dangerous journey north, about the years of fear and uncertainty. He listened as Maria talked about her dreams of becoming a doctor someday, about her favorite subject in school being science, about how she read library books to her mother every night to help her practice English. 2 months later, Rosa started her new position as a facilities coordinator at Richardson Technologies. The job paid $65,000 a year with full benefits, including health insurance that covered the dental work Maria had needed but they couldn't afford. The company's immigration lawyers took her case pro bono and were working toward securing her legal status. They had moved into a small but clean apartment in Queens, with a washing machine in the basement. But James Richardson had gained something far more valuable than the satisfaction of helping. That encounter had awakened something in him, an awareness that had been dormant beneath layers of wealth and privilege. He established a foundation focused on helping immigrant families, funded with $50 million from his personal fortune. He required his executives to volunteer at homeless shelters and community centers. He implemented a policy at his company to hire immigrants and refugees, providing legal assistance and skills training. His own daughter Sophia noticed the change. "Daddy, why do you care so much about helping people now?" she asked one evening. "Because I met a little girl about your age who taught me what real strength looks like," he told her. "She taught me that the most valuable currency in the world isn't money. It's compassion. It's showing up for the people you love. It's maintaining your dignity when the world tries to strip it away." Sometimes, on difficult days, James would think back to that fountain in Central Park, to the image of Maria's small hands working in the cold water, to the fierce love and determination in Rosa's eyes. He had always thought he was successful. But he hadn't truly understood what success meant until he saw a 7-year-old girl washing clothes beside her mother, creating beauty and meaning out of hardship, demonstrating the kind of human strength that no amount of money could buy. The fountain still stands in Central Park, water flowing endlessly. But it no longer serves as a washing basin for a mother and daughter trying to survive. Instead, it stands as a reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can create ripples that change everything, and that the most profound moments of our lives often come not from our achievements, but from our willingness to truly see the humanity in those around us.